2004 was a game changer for Yu-Gi-Oh! Why? Well, here's why. Hey everyone, I'm Jesse from the Janjo Zone, back again, and if you enjoy this history series and haven't subbed yet, well, then consider doing so and dropping a like so I know you want to see more content like this. 2003 was a crazy year for Yu-Gi-Oh! From powerful impact cards like Yatagarasu and Magical Scientists, memorable archetypes like Gravekeepers and Dark Scorpions, fun new monster effects like Spirits, Unions, and Spell Counters, and even the first ever 2003 World Championship in June. While the game changers started at the end of 2002 with Pharaoh's Servant with cards like Imperial Order and Janjo, the year of 2004 Yu-Gi-Oh! Was not quite the same. See, even though the 03 Vampire format uses the following year's February limited list, the first set of the year wouldn't come until March. Well, aside from some inconsequential promotional cards. All this would lead to the first ever Yu-Gi-Oh! Ban list. Coming through the gateway of light and darkness, it's Invasion of Chaos! Or Chows if you're a Sonic fan. Released on March 1st, 2004 in North America and October 15th, 2005 worldwide, I meant to say that. It's a combination of the OCG sets, Controller of Chaos and Invader of Darkness, and featured many cards that would define not only a year, but redefine the power of what some of these cards could do. It introduces Chaos monsters that use the already existing banishing mechanic with light and dark monsters. It also had a slew of various other power cards that would forever leave an imprint on the game. So let's take a look at these three prominent Chaos monsters. Lackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. Yeah, he's a real boss. By banishing a light and a dark monster from your graveyard, or GUI for the cool kids, you can special summon this 3000 attack monster, which was unheard of at this point. Previous monsters had much higher summoning conditions, whether it was rituals, tributing, or some weird effect like Gate Guardian or Great Moth. And once per turn, Luster can use one of his effects to either banish a face-up monster on the field, or gain a second attack if it destroys a monster by battle that turn. If you saw this monster, you had better run. The next Chaos monster was Luster's opposite, Chaos Emperor Dragon, Envoy of the End. With the same summoning requirements as his soldier brother, Dragon would hit the field with the same impressive 3k attack. However, he had a different effect where you could pay 1000 life points to send all cards on the field and both players' hands to the graveyard, and your opponent would take damage equal to the number of cards sent times 300. A fantastic board cleaner and game ender, especially if you had Witch of the Black Forest to then grab yourself a Yatagarasu and then attack to prevent your opponent from drawing any more cards and thus perfecting the game-winning Yata lock. Chaos indeed. The last big Chaos monster is the Dark Magician of Chaos. Yeah, this was before Magician of Black Chaos was released and continuing to nerf Dark Magician Girl's effect. This magician would not have the same summoning requirements as their chaotic brethren. However, when it's summoned, you can grab any spell from your graveyard and add it back to your hand. It also banishes any monster it destroys by battle. Great card, but not as good as the first two. There are also many other fantastic Chaos monsters in comparison, like Chaos Sorcerer, who is like Blackluster Light, Chaos Rider Gustav, who banished spell cards to gain attack, very similar to Bazoo the Soul Eater, and Levia Dragon Daedalus, which is one of my favorite cards, who sends Yumi to the graveyard to destroy all other cards on the field, which was like Chaos Emperor Light. This is not to say that there weren't other great cards from the sets, aside from the boss monsters. You got Berserk Gorilla, Dimension Fusion, Smashing Ground, Gigantus, the Ojama monsters, and two other crazy cards in Manju of the 10,000 Hands, one of the best generic ritual searchers to this day, and Grand Maju Deiza, which translates to Crimson Demon Beast Deiza, who is an OTK beast because this fellow gains 400 attack equal to the number of your banished cards. Grand Maju? More like Grandma Jew. Hey, I'm Jewish, I can make that joke. It wouldn't be very long, April actually, when the two envoys would find their way onto the limited list, as well as Manticore of Darkness becoming semi-limited due to its OTK potential. Loop 2 Manticores while having card a safe return on the field to keep drawing into the 5 pieces of Exodia? Yeah, Invasion of Chaos was a very applicable name. Eventually in June, Ancient Sanctuary would come out June 1st, 2004 in North America. It's a mix of the OCG sets Sanctuary in the Sky and Pharaoh's Inheritance. The set would primarily focus on fairy-type monsters by introducing the Agent archetype with powerful support cards like Sanctuary in the Sky. The best cards of the set include King of the Swamp, a generic fusion material and polymerization searcher, enemy controller, take over an enemy monster or switch their battle position, and Zaborg the Thunder Monarch, which, when tribute summoned, can destroy a monster on the field. Other notable cards include Emissary of the Afterlife, Legendary Jujitsu Master, Monster Gate, the basis for a Gate deck, Knight Assailant, Spell Economics, Spirit of the Pharaoh for something weird. And for something even weirder, there's always Moki Moki. There's always Moki Moki. The next bit of history wouldn't be another set, it would actually be the World Championships, which was held on July 25th, 2004. Now we would see where the chaos took the meta. To no one's surprise, much like the large amount of hand destruction decks of a year prior, this year would feature an overwhelming representation of the chaos deck, incorporating many of the great cards I mentioned earlier. Masatoshi Togawa from Japan would pick up the first place deck featuring the Envoys, Magical Scientist, and Janjo. Runner-up would be Chanwan Hang from China, with a slightly more aggro build with Berserk Gorilla and Donzalug in the main deck. Third place was Yoshinobu Suekane from Japan, with some defensive cards like Karibo, Spirit Reaper, and even Waboku. Waboku? It doesn't matter. Coming in fourth place was Ryan Pug, God, I'm awful at pronouncing these names, from the UK, with his own unique tech like Air Knight Parshath, Archfiend Soldier, and Vampire Lord. The rest of the top cut will look very similar to these decks, albeit with some changes here and there, but even still the best cards were clear. Togawa would go on to win a bunch of prizes, including the prize card Ulevo, a Sphinx with a similar effect to Victory Dragon, just with Winged Beasts to summon it. Only 2 copies of this card is believed to exist. The top 4 would also receive Medio the Matchless, once again another match-winning monster. Both Ulevo and Medio would feature the text that they are not dual legal, unlike their daddy, Victory Dragon. This would be a trend for all future prize cards with this specific effect. Following the World Championship come August, a new list would drop on the TCG, which would be the first list to ban monsters from competitive play. Yep, this was the first time we would see the ban list coming from the previous limited list. The cards of honor or dishonor, depending on how you look at it, would be Chaos Emperor Dragon, Sangan, Witch of the Black Forest, Yatagarasu, Dark Hole, Delinquent Duo, Graceful Charity, Harpy's Feather Duster, Monster Reborn, Raigeki, United We Stand, Imperial Order, and Mirror Force. This could also be marked as the birth of the traditional format where all banned cards would be limited to 1. However, competitive play would still use the advanced formats, updated ban lists and all. It was clear the impact of Invasion of Chaos shifted the game in a whole new direction from 2003. We're not done yet! Yeah, the history is tackling this entire year's sets, minus the special sets, which we'll get to later. Arriving in North America on October 1st, 2004, and earlier on May 27th, 2004 in Japan, came the Soul of the Duelist. Due to the convergence of releases, this set became the first in countries other than Japan to follow the OCG. What makes Soul unique, however, is the introduction of level monsters, or LV. Monsters who can power up to summon stronger versions of themselves after meeting certain requirements. This set in particular would feature the awesome Horse, the Black Flame Dragon, Armed Dragon, and Mystic Swordsman. Other great cards in the set would include Tobias, the Frost Monarch, Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke, Master of Oz, Dark Mimic Level 1, and Mind Crush. There will also be improved versions of older cards like Neo Aquamador, Enraged Muka Muka, and Nobleman Eater Bug. Then on December 1st, 2004 in North America, the final set of 2004 would come out, Rise of Destiny. This was the first set to have a sneak peek event, really hyping up the cover card, the creator, which would be his only claim to fame. And sadly, this would be the last main set to feature Yami Yugioh on the cover. Truly poetic in that this booster set was both the creation and the end. Rise wouldn't feature any new mechanics or monster types, but still featured some powerful cards. Thestalos, the Fire Monarch, the Koichi, Fusilier Dragon, Serial Spell, Divine Wrath, Machine Duplication, and Xing Zen Hu. There we go. Took me a couple tries. 2004 was another complete game changer for Yu-Gi-Oh, much like 2003 was compared to 2002. But this year in particular changed the game not only in speed and mechanics, but power too. As we've covered from the get-go with Invasion of Chaos introducing Chaos monsters and a slew of other impressionable cards, to even the later sets whether it was Ancient Sanctuary with Zaborg and Enemy Controller, or Soul of the Duelist and Rise of Destiny with Mobius and Tokoichi respectively. The World Championship clearly showed the power that arisen and led to the first ever ban list of the game. Chaos Emperor Dragon himself would stay on the ban list until only in recent years when he was errata to not be so powerful. The boss monsters that were introduced, whether it was the Chaos staples or the Monarchs, were a threat, and that was clear that they were here to stay. It would pivot the direction of the game from relative simple game states to crazy board wiping combos. And this would be the path that the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Would continue on to this day with power scaling monsters galore. Yeah, before Zeus, before Dark Arm Dragon and Judgment Dragon, it was the invasion of the entities of light and darkness that decided games. But with a strong ban list already landing, 2005 would shape up to be a very special year. The year of the GOAT.